Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on 790 The Bet. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and Wally Hatchett's Comfort Food and Drinks at 6439 Summer Avenue.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray. We talk outdoors and what we call the fastest 90 minutes on outdoor radio programming. And as you can tell, my voice is, I'm back to normal, if you want to believe it. The allergies have come back with vengeance after all my chemo and radiation and everything.
Yeah, I love that ragweed, don't you?
Yeah, that ragweed has struck me several times this week. So this being first Saturday on this September 3rd, Dave Gabbert in studio, Gene Smith over there, ready to do a pun at a moment's notice. And, of course, we have a special guest in studio, and that's J.R. Sweat with the National Catfish Derby going on over at Savannah, and also the World Championship of Catfishing coming up on September the 24th. So this is Labor Day weekend, and Dave and Gene and I were talking about, we start out Memorial Day, then we go to July 4th, and this is kind of have we learned anything in the previous two holiday weekends to have a safe boating weekend as we go into this weekend? And who better to talk to, and that's our good friend Betsy Woods with the TWRA boating division. And Betsy, I'm not going to age you, but you've been doing this for a while. And
yes, sir, I have.
And when I asked you for some figures, I didn't want to hear what I heard from your figures. At this time last year, 19 fatalities. Is that right?
That is correct.
And how many do we have as of this week?
We're sitting on 24.
Wow. Is that is that abnormal? It seems. I know a lot of people. COVID were on the water, and you could buy a boat on Friday, and at 8 o'clock the next morning you'd be on the water. Dangerous, but is this a trend this year for more than what we had last year, which I thought was a large amount?
Well, our average, if you take all the years that we've been doing this, on average, there's usually around 22 or 23.
Okay.
So we're really a little above, and last year we were a little below. But in 2020, we had the worst year that we've had in 35 years. How
many did we have that year?
I believe it was around 33
That's
or
what
34.
I thought. Yeah, it was over 30. I remember that.
Yeah.
And that was COVID really ramping up in 20 and 21.
That was.
Yes. So this year, the assortment has been don't wear life jackets. What's been the number one problem this year?
Well, yeah, probably about almost half of those would probably still be with us had they been wearing a life jacket.
Amazing.
Unfortunately, that's kind of consistent over the years.
I don't understand that. I mean, JR, you've been fishing a long time. Back in our days, I'm not aging you, but I know how old I am. Give me that old boat cushion and I'm fine.
Right.
But now, Betsy, the life jackets are no longer life jackets; they're almost Star Wars type. We've blown them up in the studio before. In fact, and I felt like
they make really comfortable life jackets now. They're not hot, and they're you put them on, you just about forget that you're even wearing them. So
yeah, and so this weekend, as we headed, I'm assuming most the TWRA guys will be on the water. So what do we watch for? This, as Dave was talking about, this is kind of like, this is it. Then after this, everybody kind of puts their boat away. I don't really think that's true, but they may go into duck hunting and everything like that.
Well, we're talking, the boat.
The pleasure boaters.
Pleasure
boaters. And now we have to include the kayaks and the paddle boarders and all these different kind of things. So we've had 24 fatalities, which I know you want zero, but I don't think we'll ever have that. We wish we could have that. So what do you stress on a weekend like this? What suggestions do you say?
Well, I guess you need to keep alcohol to a minimum for sure.
Yes.
We have a new law that went into effect last year for alcohol, and our alcohol on boats and impaired drivers, it just about mirrors the law on the road. There is mandatory jail time, and so that's big. And we have made over 105 BUIs this year, and that's like 20 more than all of last year combined.
Really?
So
Already?
So that is a priority, is to get impaired boat operators off the water. But we do the basic safety checks, a life jacket for everybody on board. Nighttime, you need to have the proper lighting. That includes if you're on paddlecraft too. If you're out at night, you need to light yourself up so people can see you.
That's true.
And children 12 and younger have to be wearing their life jacket, and of course, we recommend that everybody wear one.
Right.
So
and know where you are too. I mean, that's as I've noticed it many times, and Dave will say this, and Gene will too. Be accountable of where you are. I mean, you can be physically, mentally alert, but if you don't know how fast that person's coming next to you or coming up on the side, I don't know if they're going to come up with boats with the same things that got cars now and say, do not pass. There's a flasher going on.
Well, the strange thing about boats, and especially in personal watercraft and stuff like that, I used to tell them, there's no brakes.
That's true.
And who has the right of way?
And
who has the right of way?
There's no brakes. Yeah, I used to see people invest when I was an officer up on Watershed Lake, like Beach Lake up in Lexington, the be investigating where used to see the guys on the PF, the personal watercraft. They come zooming into the bank and they think they're going to cut it off and cut the wheel.
Yeah.
And what they forget, you can't steer unless you got water being.
That's right.
Through that's jet propulsion.
That's true.
So they smack a concrete wall,
And this will be this weekend being Labor Day weekend. So, according to you, Betsy, is one more prevalent as far as expecting trouble than the other?
Well, no, not really. Just be vigilant out there and keep a sharp lookout all around you, 360, both with hearing and sight. And don't be afraid to ask somebody to help you keep a lookout if it's really crowded out there.
Yeah, particularly when there's skiers, and now we have boats capable of pretty fast boats.
Oh, yeah. And,
on the water.
I always tell them be abreast of the weather.
The weather?
This time of year, we get them violent pop-up
storms
on some of these lakes that come through.
Yes.
That you don't really want to be caught out there, but and like Betsy
they come
said,
up fast too.
Yeah, but just know when to say when, like Betsy was alluding to. I can remember the research years ago that the effects of being on the water.
Yes.
And the glare and the bouncing and just the fatigue triples kind of the effects of alcohol.
It does.
So, like, if you had one beer, it's like you just drank three.
Yes. Yeah.
With your reaction time and
right.
stuff. So, you have two, that's like six. So
I think that's why they've gone to this, that the same rules and regulations for driving a vehicle and driving a boat are the same now.
We got to be a certain age, too.
You have to be a certain age. There is no center line. There is no four-way stops, anything like that.
No signs, no lights.
No lights, and it comes right down to it. So the recommendation from Betsy Woods, who's been keeping this for a long, long time, and I know there are boating courses now. I know Gene teaches a great hunter education course, but how are we doing on that? Are we getting more people involved taking the course?
We are. I just did a fiscal year report that'd be from July 1st to June 30th, and I believe that we certified over 14,000 the last fiscal year. So it keeps going up. It went down a bit in 2020 just because of the COVID stuff, but it's really ramping up. And we just require that you pass an exam.
That's it.
And to do that, you buy a $10 permit, and most of the counties outside metropolitan areas are testing by appointment.
Okay.
You can study on your own and purchase that permit and go take the exam. And you can literally, if you pass that exam, leave that place and get on your boat and drive it.
And how many registered boats do we have? I mean, vessels.
We have around 260,000 registered boats.
Wow.
Yeah.
260,000 registered boats.
And
Boats.
that's power.
That's not counting the non-motorized.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
the
That's
canoes
not.
and the kayaks.
Yeah, which aren't accountable for, or which the fastest growing part of the boating population are in canoes and kayaks.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if we had more of those than we do registered boats.
Wow, that even blows my mind even more.
Well,
So-
the part
Yeah.
I like the best is the paddle boards and the canoes having to have lights on at night.
Yes, yeah.
That is so treacherous out, especially on Pickwick Lake.
Yeah, if you're out there with no lights,
And in a camouflage canoe, they blend right in.
Well, if you're in a regular boat, it's hard, even in the daytime, sometimes it's hard to see those kayakers because they're so low profile to the water.
they are.
And if you get that glare of the sun just right on the water, I mean, you're going to miss them. You're not going to see them. And the people on these small, low-profile crafts, they need to be aware of that and light yourself up. So people
Light
can see
yourself up. Betsy, thank you. Now, so they can go to tnwildlife.org, I'm assuming, and find all the information about safe boating courses and things like that, right?
They can. Yes, sir.
All right. Betsy Woods, thank you. Tell everybody hello for us.
Okay, thank you. And everybody
Betsy.
be safe out there. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Betsy. All right, let's take a break on Outdoors with Larry Ray. We're going to come right back and do a little special interview with Joella Bates. Be right back.